Trap and Dark. Two players coming through the online qualifiers as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner. It is our red Protoss. Representing Jin Air Green Wings, it is Trap. And to the left-hand side here of Catalina as our blue Zerg. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dark.
Dark against Protoss seems to be a big fan of the pull first, rather, you know, than to play greedy with a hatch first, sometimes double hatch before pull. He seems to quite like the pull first, sometimes even with the gas. I've seen him go for, you know, gas 14, pull 14, get that link speed out early on, have a lot of initiative, go for aggression if he wants to. Whereas for Trap, he's definitely going to want to play, you know, with that cheekiness that he has in him, that he brings a lot up when he's playing against Terran, you know, where he was playing the mind games very efficiently, changing build every single game. So as much as we see him open with the gateway first here in this game, I can promise you that we're going to see some Forge first from him, sometimes even maybe some Nexus first. And interesting scouting route here. He went down on the top right, bottom right-hand side, or middle right. He saw there was no overload, so he's like, well, if he was on the bottom right-hand side and scouted at the top first, I would have seen it. So he checks on the left now, and he's going to be able to see that Dark actually went for a hatch first in this game, which I do think he's going to go for a pull behind this, especially upon seeing that probe.
Good scouting there by Trap overall, and even trying to put the fear of God into Dark here to start things off with that pylon going down, pulling off a few drones to try and counter that.
This needs to be respected here, because Trap, more often than not, is actually going to be cannon rushing here. But the one time that you pull drones, of course, is the time he doesn't have a Forge and he's strict you already in the game.
And even blocking that small little crevasse underneath all of this with one drone on patrol, making sure nothing crazy is going to happen. But obviously, you know, the mind game's already beginning for Trap in this series.
Do you know why he let it finish? Because he wanted to put even more fear in Dark's eye. He says, well, I'm starting my Nexus behind this. I'm hoping you're going to pull even more drones. You're going to panic. And in the end, I guess Dark didn't, so maybe not that worth it. Well, I guess those drones stayed down a very long time, especially those two that are still down there, so that was definitely nice on Trap.
Yeah, 4 drones being off mining there for that long a period of time is almost like 100 minerals worth of income per minute, and they were down there for about a minute in-game. So that is not too bad a trade there for Trap, who, yeah, as you said, back home, he's just playing pretty economically. He's got his 2 gas geysers up and running, and we'll be getting plenty of gas coming in for that pylon at the back. No doubt to throw down some tech pretty soon.
Great mathematics, Skylars. Thank you.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Stargate from Trap back, you know, in the MLG Anaheim days, which he won. He played a few very epic games. I think he had an insane series. I think it was against Scarlet, and there was a lot of Stargate usage, usually with an Oracle. He's very good with Oracles. Again, this is the wing commander we're talking about, and not just against Terran, against Zerg. He can do a lot of damage with his Oracle as well, fly it around, not fly into a spore. And yeah, just wouldn't be surprised in general if he went for something like that. So far, it's only a Stalker and a Mothership core that are being made, which might indicate he wants to go for a little bit of an aggression with those, fully knowing that there's still no spin on the way, because he did confirm there was no extractor made early on.
2 are just going to go down now. Pylon down to the bottom left-hand corner here for Trap and Dark. Oh!
Second Stalker being chrono boosted out. Trap is very serious here about this aggression.
The rerouting of the Overlord down to the bottom might not actually spot that pylon. It's going to be very close. Oh, okay, he spots the probe.
Yeah, but not the pylon. The probe here doesn't... Oh my god.
There you go, there's the pylon. It was on a slight angle, so.
If he sends links there, and he's getting 10 links, he saw the pylon, oh my god. And this is bad for Trap.
I think he just revealed. He just revealed from the vision through that pylon that there was an Overlord there, but was he paying attention to it? Because he could just let that finish. I mean, there's 12 links on the way already here to deny any kind of harassment at the front.
Trap wants to go for some Oracle here. This is going to be a single Stargate with an Oracle that he wants to get into the main with very, very quickly. He made that out on the map because if Dark had gone for an Overlord sacrifice in Trap's main, then he would have seen nothing. And Dark is going to go for a counter-attack here, possibly with the Zerglings.
And the entire main of wall, the natural wall is open. There is, speed only just started a little while ago, so it's not going to be done anytime soon, but this is a lot of damage on this hatchery.
The wall off back
He
at
needs to
home.
get it going.
It's not up, he has a sentry for force field. Trap needs to react quickly.
He could force field this. He's going to lose that Stalker at the front. Drops down one of those gateways extra, and will be able to wall it off for a little bit longer. The two queens, though, should be able to push away this mothership core.
Oh, they're hitting each other.
If you could save that, that would be amazing, but I think the mothership core should be able to eventually kill that off. There's not extra force fields, though, as the probes actually have to come off the line to deal with these Zerglings.
Oh my
and
God.
That's a great trade there for Dark.
He lost 3 probes here.
But he lost the hatchery to the mothership core as well.
And Dark is getting spores now. Are they going to be late now? The Oracle actually doesn't fly right into the main immediately. Evo Chamber, double Evo Chamber. It's going down,
He doesn't have
actually.
another force field. He needs to open another sentry. The probes come off the line again. He's already on top of the sentry as the force field will end up landing.
How did this happen? Trap was
I don't
supposed to
know.
wall it back off.
This is all a bit crazy here at the start of this best of 5. Lost a lot of sentries during that engagement. Lost his mothership core. It's a lot of gas that's gone down for Trap.
You know
with
what's
the trades
funny?
he's gone for.
Trap thinks he's hiding a second Oracle here.
Yeah, and now it's...
When Dark was seeing this being made the whole time, so he knows that there is 2 Oracles out right now. Let's see if the Wing Commander can get back to dealing damage here with his favorite units.
Let's see. Let's see. There are vulnerability points here, as he already gets himself a few drones to start things off with these Oracles. Even flies straight into the range of that Spore Crawler. Has to be careful. The Queen does provide a little but mobile anti-air here, which can cause problems. Very long range on those Queens.
5 snipes already on these drones. 48 probes to 47 drones, and still the third base only about to finish when it was remade from Dark. So Trap in not too bad of a position, but I guess tech-wise, I mean, he really doesn't have much. He's only on the 1 force, getting the +1. He's getting Twilight Council behind this, and I'm pretty sure he's going to go for a third base, a lot of Blink Stalkers and Sentries.
Well, at least we've kind of got stability in this game now. Both players at least have a good economy going behind this, 50 workers to 53 workers. Those Oracles are still poking around.
Yeah.
But Dark is doing a good job of keeping his eyes on the front of the base and making sure no probes extra are moving out and trying to take an expansion.
You know, Dark, what I've seen from him in the past was that he likes the 1 Evo with the missile attacks. But in this game, he's playing it very differently. He went for double Evo, and he's getting the melee attacks upgrade. So I wonder what's his plan here. There is a chance he might want to go into Swarmost and use the links down on the map for the mobility. He could go, you know, for Roach Link 4 now and then do a transition. He could go into Hive very quickly. He can do pretty much anything from there. Maybe not Mutas, because I guess he's investing a lot into those upgrades for the Zerglings, and it wouldn't make that much sense to spend that much gas for those upgrades.
Dropping down the Envision will kill off some of this creep at the front and making it a little bit easier for him to encroach onto Dark territory here on the left-hand side. He may have been gearing up to even deny a third with those melee upgrades.
Yeah.
Those links could always work out well if he'd have spotted one on the right-hand side as
Trap
a third.
is actually up to 7 gates, Kailaris.
Uh-oh.
Dark is going to need a lot of units to hold on this aggression, and actually Trap is setting up in a position where he could start on force fielding the ramps, or a lot of those units off.
It's all about the space control of the sentries first and then the stalkers afterwards. He does slow down some force fields, denying some of his units being killed off here, but he has to slow down the progression of these roaches at the front, and he does cut up quite a few of them, but he's slowly running out of some of the force fields.
Dark evacuates, even though 6 force fields were used here. This is a disaster here for Trap, who's going to get chased down. The mothership core gets sniped as well.
And he still has a few force fields remaining to be able to hold that off, but behind this, Robo Facility's on the way. A few extra zealots plus 2 weapons. It looks like he's abandoned this assault plan for now.
One thing that I've seen Dark do very well in the past is get Burrow very quickly in game. So far in this game, he's not getting it, but I think it would be very good if he could have gone for Burrow and Tunneling Claws at the same time. The thing is, he actually doesn't really have that much gas. He's only mining out of 2 gases. He forgot to mine out of one of the ones that he has in the main. He's totally forgot about that.
It's the one that the Oracle actually killed workers off at. So
he
he
forgot
lost
to
them and never put
resaturate
it back in.
This is massive here. He's missing on a lot of gas. 800 minerals, 100 gas, Kailaris.
Yeah, that's a lot. That is a lot. The Oracles are still doing some damage here and there, getting themselves a few drones. He's actually got around 12 worker kills at the moment amongst these Oracles, so not doing too badly.
He needs to fix that. He needs to fix that ASAP. Dark is gonna need gas.
No Queen extra to finish that Oracle off. Adding on another gas elsewhere. His army is moving through the middle of the map, and these Zerglings may have just spotted that, but there is an opening in that wall. But they decide not to take it. Cannon will be able to fend them off.
Yeah, Trap was kind of faking that he might take a third here. I mean, you could have even started it and not really have any intention to use it for now while it's making, and you know, go on for even more aggression with the amount of stalkers that he has, which is pretty massive, by the way. He's up to 18 stalkers against 30 roaches, and he's gonna have +2 in a second. I think Dark realizes what's happening and that he's gonna be mostly only stalkers for now, and he gets pathogen glands. If he can get a few infestors out,
cut some of these roaches off and will trap them on this side, but he is losing some sentries for that. As catches a few of those, he's taking the third base behind this, but pathogen glands being on the way, as you mentioned, eventually just rips this army apart, right?
Yeah, the thing is, Dark is still so short on gas. He hasn't saturated one of the extractors on his third base and the one in the main still. The longer it takes to saturate that, the more he's gonna regret it. I mean, the more gas you can get as a Zerg, the scarier you get.
Yeah. That will present a little bit of a problem, as Trap now is going to go on the offensive on another angle. I mean, what Trap needs to do if he wants to go through the middle is get one of these oracles envisioned and actually kill off some of this creep, because it is becoming a little bit of a problem to ever push forwards through, but the third base now, it looks like, has become his main focal point.
I don't think he has to get infestors, actually. Like, with hollowing he's on gas, it will be, you know, he will wreck his gas economy. He's just going to get 2, I think, for safety, just to make sure he can hold the stalkers in place if he were to be attacked soon. And the hive is, I think, supposedly here, is going to be to get Vipers, possibly transition into, you know, something like Ultras. One thing that Dark does very often, more often than other Zergs, and Snoot kind of talked about that, is that he gets Broodlords, kind of, you know, in a Wing of Liberty-ish style. He gets Broodlords very quickly, and then he hits this timing where most Protosses are like, Broodlords are still in this game, and then they kind of die. If you don't have Tempest, it's very tough to deal with them.
If he's going to do that, I wonder where his Aspire is going to be. He's going to throw it down. Pretty soon, misses one of the fungal goes. Second one will end up hitting, and the Queens are on the pursuit. So all of this will die off. Good cleanup by Dark eventually after losing a few drones.
He finally fixed the walkers on the gas in the main, even with 4. So overdoing it, but still at a third base. He's only mining out of 5 gases. Ultralis Cavern, Kylaris.
Yeah.
Those upgrades.
There was only one Immortal actually mixed in there, so maybe he doesn't really have full information as to what's going on. If he actually clicked on those Zerglings and saw once the +2 finishes up, he may be able to read into that a little bit more as to what's going on. He saw the Hive morphing in, and he hasn't found a Spire just yet.
Trap is not putting in the biggest effort to try and scout exactly what he's up to. He's only got his Oracle across the map, which for now is going to be enough, I guess. And both players right now, I don't feel like they really have a plan. Like, Trap might be planning a timing here and there, but Dark, you know, I think he's waiting to see exactly what he's up against. I think he's going to want to look to trade the units that he has out on the map, which are only, you know, Zerglings and Roaches, and that in a long game are going to be much weaker. But he needs to be cost effective a minimum with him. He needs to do a lot of damage, because if they die doing absolutely nothing, this is not going to be good.
It was a good block at the natural. The third base was under assault. Really loses one gateway, blinks onto some of those roaches, cleans those up. He's coming in from the back of this army. He could actually get quite a good trade here. He's trying to block them. He blinks forwards. He's going to get a good trade regardless. That army has to get out of there for Dark.
Trap is going to re-attack on the right-hand side with more roaches, but with the double cannons here, and even the Photon of a charge available, shouldn't do any damage. And he's actually going on the offense here. He knows that behind his Trap, he knows that Dark is going to be going for a tier 3 army, maybe Broodlords, maybe Ultras. He's going to be getting Vipers as well. He does not want to give him any time.
You're right, you can't just be on Ling and Roach for up to the 20-minute mark here as Dark. There has to be an alternate plan going on. He will catch more of these units. Good force fields, sealing some of those Roaches, picking those off. And now this is a prime opportunity for Trap to actually do something, maybe push on forwards, maybe do a bit of damage here. But Ultralists are popping, Kaisenus Plating's on the way as well. And that army is looking scary. There's a lot of transfusers, there's a lot of infestors for fungal growth.
Dark is playing with very little information here. Maybe a revelation on this army will reveal basically the whole composition, against which he would decide whether he wants to attack or not. But I know he's just going to go for the fight.
Guardian shields are up. Haven is abducted. He actually fungled a lot of the army in place. The Ultralisk getting right up against it here. Lishakov will end up eventually joining this fight, but the Ultras still powering on forwards. There's still a lot of transducers available here as the Queens in tandem with these Ultras chase it down. One of the Colossi end up falling. The second one's going to go down as well. It's hard for them to retreat out up to the high ground now to get out of this position as Dark really presented a wall for him to crash up against.
Trap supply disappears so fast. He's down to 100 supply, and he has really not that much economy behind this. He has a lot of gas, so he could go for Archons, just turtle a little bit with Immortals, but I'm pretty sure that Dark he's not just going to be staying on this army. Surely he's going to want to look to maybe add something else to his composition. But I guess Ultras plus Vipers and Infestors is going to be very, very strong, regardless if he can get as much of that as he can.
Feels he can't break through. Dark Templars going to go to the 4th base and at the 3rd base as well. Onto that Spore Crawler. Overseer's actually morphing in. Does he have any fungals or anything? He could actually reveal that. He only has 1 Infestor available to him, so he's going to have to wait for proper detection. But they're going hell for leather on that, and unfortunately, there are plenty of transfuses there, so the Dark Templars, they will not get that proper...
That's 4th base, man. 13 kills already. Trap finding him a lot of success with those Dark Templars, both against Terran and now against Zerg as well. Still, he's quite a bit down in supply. Getting the Templar Archives now and pumping out 2 Immortals at the time. I wonder if Dark's actually going to attack or just wait here.
He may.
I mean, to attack.
Trap's army right now isn't really looking too fresh. Not too fresh at all. Dark's army supply is almost doubling it. So that really does cause a lot of issues here for Trap, who is going to be pinned back for a long time. 2
Immortals, now 3 to 9 Ultra Skylaris.
It's not enough.
Dark's timing is going to expire very quickly if he doesn't attack very soon. Or I guess he could just turtle and tech to Brewlaws, but he's taken quite a bit of damage from these Dark Templars here.
I mean, that's a great move to make. If you do have a little bit of economy available to you, whilst you have this window to actually tech up yourself, your opponent is preparing for the Ultralisks, which is the Immortal.
Oh, there's no recall.
Uh-oh.
There's no recall. If he gets caught here, Trap cannot pull back.
But the Queens are not with these Ultralisks. I think he needs them with him. He's going to have to wait a little bit longer. They do now plod on forwards, and they're slowly getting towards this army. Trap's time is slowly coming here. He's going to have to take a fight very, very soon. He's separating himself up into a concave.
6 Immortals, Skylaris. Looking for the feedbacks.
Might be quite a lot. Might be enough here to get rid of this. He actually will drop a few fungal growths on the middle of that army. The Ultralists trying to power through, but the Immortals not doing too bad at the back there, powering away at some of those Ultralists. But here come the Transfuses. There's not that much firepower left here, though, for Dark, who felt that his time was now, but all of his Ultralisks have gone down. Trap will hold. Trap will power through these Queens, and Dark is now in a world of hurt.
Dark completely missing his timing here. There was a time he had 9 Ultras against just 2 Immortals. He waited until there was 6 Immortals to finally attack. And his attack just got crushed. There was no pulling back with the Queens being so slow off creep. So now all of a sudden, Trap is thinking about just counter-attacking and ending it before letting Dark recover, and I think he might just do it.
Yeah, 7 Ultralisks are on the way, but they're all going to be popping at alternate locations all over the place. So once they do, there is the potential here that if Trap finds himself in a good spot next to one of these hatcheries, he can pick off units as they come.
He's pulling the probes.
Uh-oh. Well, you know, we don't see that too often. Trap is just going to keep on going through, trying to get straight to the natural, going for the jugular. There's quite a few Ultralisks there, but still the Immortals are behind a thick wall of Stalkers. They actually blink back to try and keep themselves alive, but the Immortals are the important units here to bring down all those Ultralisks. There's still a lot of energy on the Queens. 4 Transfuses, they weren't up to the left-hand side to help out those Ultras, but this one survives for quite a long time, doing a lot of damage. It's going to bring down a Colossus very close, but it manages to go to the high ground, ends up falling in the end. This is so scrappy, but in the end, Trap has been completely cleaned up.
This is it. This was an all-in. This was Trap's entire army, and these soppy Ultralisks, man, just not dying or dealing so much damage before finally dying.
He had to hit. He had to hit when all those Ultralisks were in production.
Yeah.
So he had to get over there as quickly as possible. He didn't find the opportunity, and now he has got nothing to his name. He's down a 60 supply at this point.
He's got something. He's got the Desperation DT, Skylars, which have done him wonders in the past. But I don't think will this time, because Dark, he has Infestors, he has a lot of Ultras, he's getting Vipers, he's got an Overseer as well. And even if those DTs get a few snipes here and there, I really don't think it's going to be enough. They could. Are they going for the hatch? Yeah, I think they might just.
I think they may. I think
then,
they may.
though.
Spore Crawler then hatch, whatever they want to do, it doesn't really matter. It looks like they're going to be able to get that one. So a good pickup here for Trap to try and bring himself back into it. But now he has to buy even more time. 2 Dark Templars for the hatchery. 3 Dark Templars for the hatchery with the fungal landing as well. GG. Dark takes game number 1. A back and forth struggle there between the two. But Dark's play, the Ultralist transition, the power of the replenishment there from Dark was victorious.
The lone Zerg in the round of 8. He wants to make it to the finals. He wants that title. And as I said, he's been impressing me. And even though he missed his timing in this game, the hold was just insane. With the Ultralisks, the attack from 2 sides. Just great micro altogether. He's gonna have to make sure he doesn't let that happen again, though. You can't do that against Trap. You can't miss your timings like this, because if you do, well, usually he's gonna be able to take you out. And barely wasn't this time.
Great way to start things on Catalina there in this best of 5. As we are going to go to a short break, and then when we're back, it's game number 2 here in the round of 4 between Trap and Dark. Game number 2 on the way here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship between Dark and Trap. As we now figure out who, if we can see Dark actually go into a position where he is 2-0 up, or if Trap can pull it back. Because that was very, very close, that game. Very, very interesting, sporadic back and forth game between the two.
Trap attacked at the wrong time. You know, he was getting crushed, then he ended up barely pulling back. And then it was, I guess, Dark who attacked a little bit late. But even Trap, he didn't particularly have to take that fight this early. He could have just massed on Immortals and Archons and taken a much better fight.
All right, well, let's get into it. Game number 2 now on Overgrowth, as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner as our red Protoss representing Jin Air Green Wings. It is Trap. Down to the bottom left-hand corner, blue Zerg representing SKT. It is Dark.
By the look of things, another gateway opener is in the plans here for Trap, most likely. Maybe with the Nexus first. And I'm actually a little bit surprised. From Trap here, I would have expected some kind of Forge play, maybe, you know, a bit of a cannon rush. Dark already moving out with a drone. Maybe a bit of a proxy hatch here, maybe a Cats build.
Or maybe wanting to get confirmation of what he's doing really early, because what we saw from Trap in game number 1 was that pylon going down, him being a little bit tricky, him faking him out. Dark saying, you're not going to do that twice, my friend.
That was so fortunate, by the way, for Dark. He was completely ready. Imagine if he hadn't seen that and hadn't made spores, which against the Wing Commander is kind of suicidal. But the one time you get them, that's when he's not making the Stargates.
And second drone goes down to the natural, so it's not going to be a proxy hatchery in his opponent's base, or opponent's natural even, I should say, as that drone will just look to try and delay things going on, or even just run away, whatever he wants to do.
For the second time in a row, Trap here is just opened with a gateway and scouts, followed by a Nexus. This is actually getting, or gonna get blocked maybe for a little bit.
Yeah.
Around his natural.
But now Trap doesn't have, Dark doesn't have to be fearful. He's just playing his own game behind this. Going to take his gas, and then no doubt into spawning pull from there on out. And whoop, getting very, very close with that, but did delay for a second or two.
Yeah, but he forced a second probe to come down there as well, so it's nice of a thing here to happen for Dark, who, since he got a perfect scout, decided to go for a gas before the pull. He's going to allow him to start speed very quickly. He's one of those Zergs that seem to really like, you know, to always get speed started super quickly against Protoss so that he can get map control. He's going to have a lot of initiative and, yeah, just does well with this in general.
Drone heading on back now. Trap was chasing that for a little bit, but he's already got confirmation of what's going on in the main. So this is different to game number 1. Obviously, he didn't have speed for a long, long time. In this one, he could happily do that very, very quickly here, can Dark, and then start to threaten the middle of the map, making sure he has full control of what's going on.
Trap is very, very good, at target control, but against a good Zerg, who gets enough queens out and places spores very well. It's not like against Terran, where you can find holes here and there where you're always going to do damage. And in the last game, these 2 Oracles, they really didn't do all that much of damage. 12 links on the way here. So Dark, he wants to, I guess, catch Trap off guard and play a little bit of the mind games. I guess if you see that Overlord at the natural, he noticed that there is no pylon there yet. So he knows that maybe he can get in there before the wall-off is complete. In which case, if speed finishes once the links are already in, this can do a lot of damage. And also, he knew that the Mothership Core at best can only be coming up now. So if he has a lot of links across the map at the time, this could be annoying here for Trap. If he ends up losing, a few probes here and there, this could set Dark very far ahead in this game.
And he'll only get confirmation of it as soon as it enters now. Yeah. So that is a bit annoying for him. He could lose some of the probes here at the natural, as he will start chasing on those forwards.
It's a pretty big investment, though, to get this many links early on, plus speed, and not achieve much other than so far, he's killed. He's going to kill what? 1 pylon. The Mothership Core is going to kill all this. Trap only evacuated. He's actually... Oh, wow. Is he really going to move out?
Ah, okay. So I think he's a bit fearful that more links will be following up behind him.
Yeah. But actually, speed already finished.
And he gets the wrap on that probe. And he might even get a few more here in the natural, so...
Oh, Trap doing this a little bit greedy here. Definitely could have just evacuated the natural and waited a little bit more before taking it.
Yeah, so in the end, one of those pylons will be cancelled. He doesn't need that much supply right now. Third base has been spotted down here, so that gives Trap a little bit more peace of mind, despite the fact that he's going to be harassed once again, losing another probe. So greedy Trap trying to get down here. Uh-oh. He's going to get in. He got tried to go for the photon overcharge on the natural. He lost himself an Overlord there, so he is supply blocked himself. But
he was using that as a decoy, to try and take the attention away. But in the end, Trap calculated this pretty well. He got the Overlord, and those links are not going to do all that much. He lost 4 probes.
The start of both of these games have been a little bit scrappy, a little bit unusual, to say the least. But now Trap will fortify himself. It's not going to be too easy now for links to get in there. I say that, and it may just end up happening. But he's going for Stargate up against the Roach Warren.
It's been absolute fireworks, Skylar's. The last few games that we've seen, no matter what the matchup, each player really getting into each other's face from very early on. 40 drones to 35 probes, not bad here. Dark just getting the Roach Warren. Dark is one of those Zergs who seems to really like getting burrow very quickly and does very well with it. I'm sure he makes Roddy and Snoot very proud because they had quite a bit of chat last time we casted some show matches about this. Double Forge. Okay. Pretty surprised. You don't really see this against Zerg almost ever. He canceled one. Okay, this was a mistake. I was like, what?
Oh, well, there you go. So one's finished, one's gone, and we have a few more links separating themselves up across this map now just to keep eyes on what is going on. And he already sees a small force moving through the middle of the map. Uh-oh.
The burrow, making Roddy proud here.
The burrow. But there's going to be an Oracle, which, yes, can threaten them back in the mineral lines, but also can grant himself Envision once it
Come on, he doesn't have enough energy, Kailax.
Well, eventually he will.
He has a choice to make. Usually he chooses to do the damage instead.
Well,
Dark is making a lot of units, and this was actually a fake here by Trap. He's just going to fall back home, fully knowing that the Zerg right now has been making a lot of units. But look at this. 11 drones starting, and well, he's going to have to replace those that are dying right now.
Yeah. It's a good job he starts them because he can't really rival that Oracle up until he had some extra anti-airs. 14 drones in the production tab, wanting to replenish what he's lost. Void Ray being added on as well here for Trap. Not that usually to claim and help out a third base location.
I've seen a game from Dark on this map where he went for Roaches with Tunneling Klaus, and then later on, he added on not only Hydralisks and Vipers, but then transitions into Broodlords very, very well. But in this game, I feel like he might be just going for the Swarmost, which on this map is definitely one of the better things you can do,
Yeah.
The Choo-Choo.
The choo-choo, yeah. This is, I think that, also something that Dark's been doing with the Nidus play, if he knew that the Void Ray was the weapon of choice to claim a third base, actually Nidus play and continued Queen production is something that can work really well against that, but For now, it was just the one. As he does secure that third base, sends a hallucinated Phoenix out, even I should say, to try and see what is up. And he will get confirmation of this tech pretty soon.
Yeah, cutting drones at 66 and getting links like this, I'm not sure what Dark is hoping to achieve. Maybe just getting a little bit of back control here, making sure he can counter-attack in case he's attacked. And guess what? He's about to be attacked just before he gets the Swamos that he's trying to reach. And he doesn't have much at home. It's up to 4 roaches.
But it's not that much, you're right.
Trap was faking again. I'm actually surprised he's not denying creep right now.
Saw the infestation bit behind all of this. He walked onto creep and obviously did reveal himself to Dark, but Dark Slings are still positioned in an aggressive manner to try and do something on that third base.
Yeah, Dark already starting to work on the fourth base. I quite like that. He's very decent creep spread, I have to say. Especially since it's not being denied. It's going to be very powerful later on, you know, when the Swamos come into play. Creep spread definitely one of the important aspects of playing with such a style.
3 queens were walking in a very weird direction down to that bottom position, and that Void Ray actually got intercepted down to the bottom right-hand corner. But now here come the Swarm hosts. There's going to be just a trickle to start things off. He's already working on his +2 weapons as well.
Shortly after the Proto started it, which is definitely not something you see all that often. Being able to keep up with the upgrades like this.
I think it's important to note as well in this tournament, this is only the second ZvP even, we've actually seen during the whole tournament, with Hydra and Zest being the only other one. So with these Swarm hosts entering the field, Dark is looking to really apply the pressure. He hasn't played a Protoss Soul during this tournament yet.
Yeah. Only... How many Swarm hosts is he getting? He's up to... We're going to go up to 10.
Yeah.
Does he plan on cutting? Like, the quick hive kind of throws me off. I think it's good, almost always good to get a quick hive. How do you not have a spore in your main against Trap?
I don't know. That was 10 workers going down very quickly. He brings his queens back, will clean it up, but 10 workers going down. A brilliant pickup there for Trap, and he also sealed in a lot of those lings up to the third base and killed those off as well.
He's getting a Spire, Kailash. But since he's getting hive, I don't think this is going to be for Mutas. I think he wants to go for Broodlords, to go for possibly a big push with Swarmhost and Broodlords as well.
That's a lot of free units, Todd. That's a lot of free units.
Some might call him the free roller, Kailash.
Some may, some may. Well, there's going to be a close eye out with Thermal Lance to deal with that. Zealot Charge has started as well.
I think this could do a lot of damage, actually. I don't think there's any static defense in the main. Vipers are now being made. Just a few queens standing there. Where's your observer trap? And why aren't you denying the creep?
And he intercepts this Warp Prism very quickly. That's going to have to get on out of that.
Oh, another Stargate.
Oh. All right, we could be in for a long one. We could be in for a long one if Trap bunkers down and keeps himself well defended.
Yeah. Is he thinking Mutas, so he wants to get Phoenixes, or is he thinking maybe the possibility of Broodlord fully knowing his opponent and having done his own, or maybe both, you know? Well, it's not very costly to get 2 Stargates just to be safe and then scout and see what you're up against and adjust. Greater Spire is on the way as well at 4 Mutas, Kailash.
All right then. The 4 Mutas may actually just be to hunt down Warp Prisms. We've seen that in the past. We've even just seen 1 Muta being mixed in for Warp Prism hunting downing. But at the same time, of course, we have that Fleet Beacon going on as well here for Trap on the other side of things. So Tempests or even those Phoenix with extra range, if he saw those heightened Mutalist productions, could be a factor. But he's already starting the +1 weapons, so it really feels like Tempest to me from here.
Yeah, with the Fleet Beacon. You can get it for both, again. You know. You can get it so that if you need the range for Phoenixes and then Pulse Crystals, you make it, but otherwise it's going to be the Tempest. Trap is going to... Both players at this point in the game, they're going to have to mix perfectly to counter the opponents. It's really going to come down a lot to that. You know, engagement's obviously going to be pretty important, being patient, fighting in the right position, but really mixing units and adjusting to your opponent's composition may be the most important thing to do at this stage in the game.
Those 2 Colossus were pretty vulnerable at the front there. They didn't have too many complementing units, so if that had gone down, they could have tried to get on top of them. Pulls them forwards with some abducts, getting right on top of them, and they will end up all falling. 2 Roaches as well as Locusts, but here come the Stalkers from the back. Guardian Shield blinks on forward on top of some of these Swallows, bringing down these important units here for the Zerg composition to try and hold on. But Trap has found himself in a really awkward position.
How is he going to kill the Void Race?
I'm not really sure about that, but the Mutalists are flying in to maybe help out that situation. There's still a lot of Stalkers here, though. They're holding on, battling valiantly. Yeah. Dark is going to have to retreat out. He lost a lot of his Swarm hosts in that. In fact, every single one.
Yeah, but I don't think he cares too much. Whew. Look, he's replacing those units faster than Trap is. and he's still quite a bit ahead on supply. If Trap moves in now and overextends, he's going to be in trouble. It happened in the previous game. You don't want that to happen twice in the best of 5, because then you're 0-2. So he's going to pull back. And behind this, Trap is actually remaking Swamos, feeling maybe a little bit unsafe. He's got 3 Mutas. I think ideally Trap would like to be going for Broodlords now, but maybe he was really afraid after he lost all of this. He's like, oh god, he's going to counterattack. I need to make enough units.
It's amazing the flow of this game. This game went from 0 to 100 in about 2 seconds, but
they barely missed the Zealots.
The 3 Mutas going to go for the standard 3 Muta harass into 2 cannons and probably retreat as quickly as possible, or just die, either one. The mothership, actual real mothership, is on the way, and Dark is making the most of these Mutas up until the point where he flies into Stalkers.
I really like what Dark is doing. A run by with the Zealots on the right-hand side to try and take out some drones or do some, economic damage, and at the same time staying active out on the map, trying to deny some creep, trying to force the Locust basically to be there. Thing is, Zealots don't do very well against this many roaches.
But the Muta actually saw the real mothership morphing in behind all of this, so he does have to anticipate that becoming a bit of a problem very soon. Roach Hydra can clean up these Zealots on the right.
I think Dark is just going to keep on mixing in, Roach Hydra and Vipers, and then go for Broodlords.
No.
He's only he's waiting to have enough gas. He's only been on 8 gases across 4 bases, so now that he's working on the gold base and that he's going to come up soon. Oh, he needs to not overextend here. Force fields could be dangerous.
Not going to go too far.
Trying to siege a little bit.
Trap actually picked off one of the Vipers in that engagement, which was a good pickup from him. It is a costly investment there from Dark on the other side of the map. As these Roaches and Hydras on the left now are going to find a position. Every little bit of or extra chunk of gas that goes away towards Vipers is gas that's eventually going to go away from the Broodlords.
I think Dark is so rich that he might actually be okay with trading this army, to do some economic damage here and there. Like, if he could snipe this base or all of these probes here and lose all of this, he might be okay with this. And look, he's going to commit this to the Nexus here.
All right.
Dark doesn't care. He has enough economy to remake a lot of units behind this. He has 40 Lava Skylights. He can instantly replace that army.
Yeah, he's got a lot of minerals available to him. Not as much gas as I was expecting there to get that going, but 16 Corruptors are on the way.
And he's actually used a lot of gas for that. And is Trap finally going to counterattack?
He might have to.
Honestly, after the first game, I would be so scared of counterattacking because it's... I guess he has the recall, though, if he gets in trouble. The thing is, remember that there is abducts from the Viper available, and he already saw that there was Hydralisks. Now there's going to be Corruptors, which is going to find out about very soon.
And the Locust holding this army at bay whilst he builds up a little bit again. His army supply is going to be pretty even here as this enters this phase in the game, but there's still a lot of Swamos on the way. These Corruptors are now amassing, and when he gets a few Broodlords with this army, it's going to be a very difficult location to break.
Trap just saw the Corruptors as well with the hallucinated Phoenix, so right now he has to decide how does he counter. He's getting some Archons. I think he might just want to go for a timing with the 7 Templars that he has with Storm, but against that much static defense, he's going to be pretty tough to break.
Definitely.
It can happen, though.
Well, here come a few Colossi straight into the front of these lines and will end up falling with those abducts. And those Storms really didn't do a whole lot there, so Trap has to play this much more patiently than that, but with the economical standing that he's in, with that 4th base going down, I mean, he needs to get that out quickly.
CJ's Hero actually had a similar game to this up against Dark on King Sejong Station, where at this stage in the game, when Dark was maxed out and Hero was maxed out, he attacked on the middle base in the Swamos position, and with a lot of big storms, he was able to win the game. So Trap might be looking to do the same thing, but right now he's definitely taking his sweet time instead of just rushing in.
And Impulse Crystal's being upgraded here. Is Trap scared of once the engagement comes that maybe the Mutalist switch comes in and he wants to get prepared for it?
He knows that Dark is going to have a lot of gas for a Muta transition, so he doesn't want to take the risk. It's a safety, Phoenix range that he's going to get. Definitely going to be nice of a thing to have going for him. And this is very smart here by Trap. This is going to do a ton of damage. The Zealots, at the same time, are going to get the hatchery.
Nice.
They got 8 drones as well.
Very good pickup there, and he's going to get the Hive as well. Very good. At the same time, though, a huge fleet actually moving forwards here, looking for anything they can find. If they can find, if they can find Void Rays, if they can find Colossi, that'll be a good trade for them. Because all the anti-air is in these Stalkers, for the most part, at least. But now it's Tempest in production here. Uh-oh, he found this Great Aspire. He's actually doing good work on it.
Oh, he needs to transfuse that and bring some units back, but the Swamos are so slow. Trap might be able to get it.
Oh, and the Hive's gone. The Hive's gone. It's not going to be any Broodlords morphing in. He's trying to keep it alive with the transfuses, but he picks it up. A great little move there from Trap to actually deny that.
And Dark is getting 16 more Corruptors. He's gonna go up to almost 40 Corruptors in total to deal with that air army.
That was crazy. That was the way he actually was able to do that. Now he has to wait for the layer to morph in, has to wait for the Hive to morph in. He's going to get another entry somehow, some way, because he knows his opponent is so immobile, like you were mentioning before.
These Stalkers never die, they're everywhere. Dark was like, enough is enough. He made 10 links and he's finally going to kill them.
I don't know.
Maybe?
The rest of help as well.
One by one?
Drones going for the battle. Well, at the same time, this army for Trap is just hunkering down at the back. That's still so many Corruptors. Remember how, I think it was Sue, right? I think it was Pro League, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way he was moving his Corruptors around, the flow of how he was using them, it was majestic. And if we can see Dark do something like that again, it's almost nigh on impossible to actually break those kind of Corruptor numbers. I'm trying to think who it was. It might have been Sue against Yoda?
Dark is trying to counter the air with mass Corruptors, but he's up against the Wing Commander, Katowice. Of course, this guy is going to deal well with that. If Trap realizes what's happening and the massive amount of Corruptors, all he has to do is to just get a ton of Void Rays, make sure he has the Templars ready to storm on top of these Corruptors, and I mean, I don't think he can lose the fight. It's really going to be for Dark to turtle enough, but Trap catches him maybe a little bit out of position here. He wants to go for a big push. He has the Warp Prism to reinforce, which is going to make this even stronger here.
This is a big army for Trap, now on the warpath, moving and encroaching onto this territory. Once again, he actually picks up the Warp Prism. No more reinforcements here for Trap, unless they were coming all the way from the back from one of those pylons. But he needs to
observers.
Okay, he's going to start dealing with some of these Tempests at the back. They were way out of position. The Mothership Core actually has to recall. Gets one out. After that, I've done a great little move to save that. But some of the Colossi are going to fall as well. The Corruptors continue on, looking for those juicy targets on top of one of the Tempests at the back. The Storms aren't quite hitting the mark, and the army supply has gone in favor of Dark.
Yeah, with this many Corruptors, he was able to deal really well with the army and the Vipers, but he needs to be careful here. Dark needs to have some kind of follow-up plan. He's remaking the Hive.
It's so important he saved that Mothership, actually. It's so expensive. He really doesn't have that much gas available to him at all to be able to replenish that kind of unit at this point in the game. So, but that being said, he's warped in a few Dark Templars who are going to go for the harass, and maybe that will be a very, very strong move down to that bottom right.
I don't think expensive. He's even strong enough of a word to describe of exactly how expensive that Mothership is, man. He's so much gas in particular, and gas, you know, in that matchup is very, very important. Minerals, you get them easily, but gas is really hard to come by on this map, you know, when you split it.
Dark still all over the place. Will shut down that harassment on the right. And his army supply, though, is still 140 against 117. Those Corruptors have done a lot of work. They don't exactly have the most amazing of upgrades at this point in time, with just the 1-0. But there's so many of them. The mass of Corruptors can bring down really, really important units in the Protoss arsenal.
Units lost.
Oh,
still pretty even.
Is he spreading to go for Concave? He knows where he is. He just saw where the army is. He's
gonna come in from every side, even the left-hand side. Here we go.
Straight in for the fight here. How well the Storm's going to do? How well the splash damage from the Archon's going to do? If the Mothership actually falls, all of these units are going to be revealed. But he pushes her away on all sides. The disperse here from Dark. He has to retreat back. Trap. The defense on that central point was very strong.
Dark lost so much supply here. He fell to 149 supply almost instantly. Only got the Mothership and then pulled back. He's getting more and more Corruptors behind this.
Falling back. Has to play this very, very carefully. Good fungal. Will catch a few of these units. Can't keep going on forwards. The Locust, the traitor Locust, push the Infestors forwards and get those killed off by some of these Archons.
Not having a Mothership here, this army is not cloaked and he's going to take a lot of damage from these Locusts, but there isn't really that many Swarmos here. Only 12. And 2 Infestors, which are right there. Not there, not anymore.
Oh, they go. Only 14 Corruptors to combat this army, but those Archons are at the front dealing out a lot of splash damage if they ever go anywhere near. And the Locusts will be fried up here by the Colossi as well. Still alive, 3 of them in total. 2 of them only with this army. The blink forwards, trying to kill off some of these Corruptors down to the bottom. Corruption goes onto one of the Colossi. That falls as the Corruptors trying to swing around on this left-hand side, looking for more units here, trying to get out of position of those Archons.
Dark is so rich, but he doesn't have the lava.
Oh,
and not the hatcheries. And he lost both of the hatcheries in the main.
Yeah, he's lost so much. He has lost so much. His army supply is kind of dwindling. It's very, very close here. Another Colossus ends up falling as well, but there's not really that many units. He's going to be able to the Locust to push on forwards back against this army. This is one of his only last remaining hatcheries, the one standing with the gold mining income to try and help him out. Of course, that one to the bottom right is helping out too, but he's losing a lot of Corruptors to kill off these expensive units.
This has done critical damage, Skylaris, and Trap could just pull back from there. Take another base, you know, the one on the top right-hand side. And Dark is down to 2 bases. One of them not even mining anymore, the 3rd base. He lost his very important gold base. Double Colossus production is on the way behind this. And Greater Spire is going to be restarted. Well, he doesn't have that much gas, sadly.
Look how long it took him to get that Greater Spire from when he lost the Hive to losing the Greater Spire. It took him almost 15 minutes to get back to that point, if my math is correct. But the 2 Colossi now going to be added on here for Trap, whose army is gathering momentum. And he did have that gold-based mining during this whole time. Look at how much he has coming in.
You know what's funny? It's the 2nd Greater Spire that's being made in this game. We might not see a single Broodlord.
Yeah, we might. You're right. You're actually right. There aren't really that many Corruptors at all. Only 7 at the moment, and most of the time those are very, very much needed to bring down the Colossi. Although that being said, Broodlords can do all right against those numbers, especially if they're working in tandem with those Swarm Hosts, pushing that army back through the middle.
Dark is a fighter, man. He's hanging in there. He's just trying to siege here a little bit. He's actually long distance mining from the gold here, which he's remaking. He has quite a bit of a bank. If he could spend that and somewhat, you know, remax, get Broodlords. I mean, there are no Tempest out right now, and this army will definitely struggle up against Locust plus Broodlords. But I mean, it's really the supply leads that Trap has right now that scares me for Dark.
Well, there you go, Todd. Your prayers have been answered. I know your Protoss prayers have been answered here with those Broodlords now morphing in. Whoa. Okay, they went really, really far. They got the Nexus, but at the cost of a lot of the Swarm Hosts. That was a few of them now. The majority are going to have to retreat on out.
Oh my God.
And he knows about it. He's on the pursuit. He's looking for them.
No.
He sees the Broodlords on the left-hand side, but they morph in time, and they're going to have to retreat out there. Dark knows that they are very vulnerable.
He's trying to fly away, and he's going to be able to hear Dark, who's getting Roaches to support his Swarm Host and Broodlords here. He's in a lot of trouble. That gold base is just going to die again.
This could be do or die. This could be do or die for Trap. I mean, he's lost a lot of his income up to that top left-hand side. Of course, his army is very, very strong, but he only has 1 observer, and it's not with the army, so he can't kill up any of these Swarm Hosts.
Yeah, Trap's just going to go for it, probably. Right below this Broodlord.
Tries to go for it, focuses one down. Good Storms will push the rest of the army out of here. Wasp trying to bring down those Broodlords at the same time, and he has a lot of anti-air. Blinks forwards again. Another Broodlord falls. Extra one falls. The Swarm Hosts are actually dying off to just the anti, the AoE itself, and Trap forces the issue. GG, tying up the series. What a game from Trap there to keep it into position, and 1-1. Really well played there by Trap. Dark, likewise, played a good game. That concave, that almost 270-degree concave that he actually had up towards that gold base, I thought he was going to do a lot with that, but the control of Trap and the decision-making to greet all of those units on either side was fabulous by Trap, fabulous.
The problem is, I think he only went in with the Corruptors, and, you know, there was nothing on the ground to try and tank some of the damage, you know, for example, from the Archons, like the Locust. And yeah, it was just, didn't work out. He dropped down to 150 supply, only killing a single mothership. He needed some abducts to kill that mothership, not a massive flank like this, because he lost way too much.
All right, well, after that great game, we're going to go to a break. And when we're back, game number 3 here on Vanny Research Station between Trap and Dark. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. And what a game number 2 here in this best of 5, in the semi-final between Trap and Dark. As we have Vanny Research Station, game number 3 here between the two, tying it up to their Trap after a really rip-roaring game number 2. Very, very cool stuff there from them. And now Vanny Research Station. I mean, we technically could see similar things here. It's a great map for that kind of swarm host play. We've seen that time and time executed by people like Snoot, of course, here. And now we get into it. Spawning down to the south, it's our red Protoss tying up the series in this best of 5. Representing Jin Air Green Wings, it is Trap. And up to the north, it's our blue Zerg. Representing SK Telecom T1, it is Dark.
Dark, who really struggled in the previous game, I have to say. You know, with his Swarm host play, in one of the recent Pro League games that he played up against Hero, he already lost with the Swarm host, so maybe that style is not for him. You know, he said he watches Snoot's games, he tries to learn from him, but I don't think he's quite figured out exactly how to play Swarm host like Snoot, because otherwise, if he did, he would have done better and maybe even won.
Yeah, it's difficult to play quite like Snoot. He has a very, very cool style in almost every single matchup. Very, very fine for himself. But regardless of that fact, Dark here and Trap. Dark's going to move over there with his drone once again, making sure nothing crazy is going on over on the other side of the map, because we've already seen that Trap can be prone to some kind of mind games. That doesn't want that going on. Yeah,
a hatch block here actually would be massive. Like, imagine, where do you expand if you're Trap and you get hatch blocked on your natural?
That's true.
You would have to come up with start Zealot and stuff. It would just be a bad situation altogether, but Dark's not even going to bother. Just goes for a hatch first.
The drone was already heading down to that natural as well, so Dark, if he wants to get a little bit crazy, he could do, but he's already waiting there and brought the probe down pretty quickly to make sure that that is not going to be a situation he has to deal with.
Yeah, this is really not going to buy too much time. I mean, Zealot being made, but he can just cancel that.
Yeah. Shooing that away.
Made a lot of probes, actually, before finally getting that. Why was the second pylon made in the main of Trap? I'm a little bit surprised.
Not too sure.
Unless he throws down a forge and then goes for some kind of cannon rush, this doesn't make too much sense. Not sure, really. Maybe he had anticipated, I guess he would be blocked for some time and he wanted to go over, you know.
Very economic.
Yeah.
Get a lot of probes out very early.
He wanted to make sure he can keep on making probes, because it's not like he went Nexus first, he made Gateway before, so you want to keep that probe production going, you know, get the gases and then core.
Well, for now, Dark's getting all the information he needs. This Overlord is going undeterred because obviously there are no Stalkers out, there's no Cybernetics core out, so it couldn't even be produced at this point. As the Cybernetics core will start up now. The Zealot and Probe actually already moving in here towards the mineral line and will be starting to be annoying.
I wonder what style Dark wants to play here in this series, because, like I said, he hasn't been met with success when he played Swamos, so definitely maybe should try something different. In the previous game, I really didn't think he had to play Swamos.
He knew he was never going to get out with this Zealot, so he is going to stand his ground.
It's actually,
wow.
You know, he's not going to kill anyone.
Whoa.
Oh, that's some serious micro.
That is some serious micro. All right, Dark, we get it. You're pretty good at StarCraft. But now those Lings are going to head on across the map. They will actually regen quite nicely whilst they're on the way over there.
Is the Wing Commander going to come back, Lars?
We'll see. He did pretty well in that last game and made Tempest. We haven't seen him make Tempest yet during this tournament. So more results for the Wing Commander as he throws down the Stargate. I am happy. All right, so these Lings, how much can they really do at the front? Not too much. That Stalker will block and then kill off every single one of them if he's not careful. Yeah,
Trap has sent a probe on the left-hand side to sneak around, which is actually going to be spotted by that one Overlord, so the Lings should come back and deny that from scouting the main, supposedly, if they went back now. But no, actually, this is going to confirm not only the third base, but walk into the main, see the status on the guys. Whoa!
Where'd the Stalker
go? Overlord decoy again!
Oh, I'm not going to say it. Well, those Lings are going to move on out. And they didn't get themselves too much there, but at least they had a little bit of a look around, a little bit of an excursion.
Seeing the Stargate here is definitely nice of a thing to have going for him here for Dark. He knows that there's an Oracle or more. Once again, can start getting prepared. Usually you want to start the spores at the last second. The better you can time it, you know, I don't want to say the better again, the more good it's gonna be. Good. And 2 additional gateways for Trap, whom I don't think it will be too surprising if he went for, you know, a very quick third base, a Forge, a +1, and then Blink. Usually the most common follow-up. Then again, on this map, could do some 2-base aggression. With a crazy player like him, you know, there's still a lot of things that you can see. But yeah, we do see the Forge go down.
That's the Oracle moving out up to the top here with those Lings that barely skirted past it. And the Lings just making sure everything has been cleared out. Actually, you can see on the minimap, almost all the entire map has actually been scouted out here by both players respectively, or between them at least. So nothing really being left to chance on this map.
The Oracle taking more damage before even starting to shoot at anything. He chooses to pull back for now. And Lair only starts now.
Almost got that drone, but the Spore Crawler does start.
50 drones to 45 probes. Both players doing a fantastic job of making walkers early on in the game.
All right, and we're in a little bit of a lull here whilst things gear up. +1 weapon's going to start.
Roach Warren plus 1 Evo. This is really, you know, specific to Dark. He loves to do that. He loves to get the +1 missile attacks and get enough roaches to make sure he doesn't die, you know. Always gets roach speed as soon as that roach round finishes. Sometimes gets burrow as well very quickly too.
Cueing the move here from the Oracle straight up to it so he can actually get back in there as quickly as possible after the retreat on out.
Yeah, missile attacks level 1 started here, and I really wonder, is he going to play Swarmos or not?
I mean, it's a really good map for it, but it's also a good map actually for Roach pushes straight onto that third base. It's a very, very large area in this location to try and push against. So Trap is going to be making big walls. That's why we're seeing a lot of sentries. They're going to hold down the fort for a while. Also threatening with the move out as well if that has been spotted. Dark is going to have to make a few units maybe where he won't necessarily want to.
Infestation Pit is going down, so I guess we might see the Swarmos here once again.
But the out of Dark. Creep Spread's not doing too amazingly, and the Oracle keeps getting kills.
These Oracles have superpowers.
They do.
6 more kills here.
They have trap powers.
This is ridiculous. I would have lost mine 5 minutes ago. And he didn't even avise it then.
Well, an extra gateway is going to litter the field just to keep himself well and truly buckled down on these 3 bases. Again, a little bit of a slower start here for him, but he just wants those 3 bases worth of economy up and running to tackle anything that Dark's going to be going for.
3 more gates in the main, so that's actually, I think, 8 gates.
It's a lot.
That he's going up to, so this could do quite a bit of damage here. Trap is going to go into full Stalker mode here. He's got Blink, you know, getting very close to finishing, and this is just before the Swarmos are going to be made as well. So this is actually a very, very strong timing. The best one that you can hit up against a Zerg who's going Roach straight into Swarmos. And you know what also makes it very strong? The fact that you have a mothership to recall in case you get in trouble.
Yeah.
And it cannot be denied at all because there is no anti-air other than the Queens. A Zerg that keeps Hydralisks, he's going to take a lot of damage from this timing, maybe even die sometimes.
He's going to lose some of these Roaches as well. He didn't really have that many to begin with, and he was replenishing and continues not to have that many. 14 are about to pop, but the third base is now under threat, and this is a good engagement angle for the Protoss to have some of those force fields able to pin back some of this army if Dark isn't careful.
This is a great position here for Trap to be attacking in. Very similar to what we saw actually very recently from Showtime up against Newt in Fragbite, and he did very well.
And the drones come off the line on the backside as well. He has to try and get on top of some of those sentries, blinking back, defending those. Force fields went down everywhere, almost creating a little maze for these Roaches to run around, but they will be able to push it back at the loss of 22 drones though. So that was a big economical hit there to Dark. He should be able to clean up the majority of the sentries at the front, but the Stalkers, with their blink ability, just able to continue on pushing.
Yeah, he needs more roaches to hold this comfortably here. Dark might be able to push it back. Trap, I actually feel like he kind of overextended here. Like he went a little bit too far on the creep. He could have just stayed on the left-hand side, sniped the drones, force-fielded everything that came in. He kind of missed the first set. But anyway, he has so many stalkers, and Dark is only on roaches and Zerglings right now, trying to barely hold on.
He came in from the left-hand side, down to the bottom as well, did Dark. So he was trying to make the blink redundant, but even then, it's not going to work out. Trap takes the game. He goes up 2-1 in this best of 5 and is now 1 game away from going on to the grand final here at the World Championship. And for a player like Trap, who comes through those qualifiers and has not really done anything at the Intel Extreme Masters before, what play from him so far at this tournament? What play?
Really struggling with the Swamos here, Dark. Not using those too well. I guess one thing that he could do to make it better is, you know, to go into more units before he gets this, and an Overseer would have gone a long way to help holding this here. If he had seen the 8 gateways, you only have to make units, maybe even some spines, but didn't see it coming and got punished for it.
All right, well, that means now we are at match point here for Trap. Join us after the break when the potential conclusion of this best of 5 may occur here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. So far here at the Intel Extreme Masters, Dark has been doing very, very well throughout his whole tournament run. But now his life is on the line here. At this point, Trap, his opponent, stands 1 game away from moving on to the World Championship Finals here at the Intel Extreme Masters. It's going to be Expedition Lost for game number 4. And Todd, I've got to say it. Aligulac's doing all right at the moment.
It's not over, Kailaris, but yes, it's looking good for Trap here.
All right, let's get into things then, as we have spawning up to the top right-hand corner, 1 game away from the grand final, as our red Protoss, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Trap. And unless he's able to pull this one out, down to the bottom left-hand corner, he will be out of the tournament as our blue Zerg, potentially for 1 final time. Give it up for Dark.
You know, it's crazy. In the previous game, that timing by Trap, I really feel like Dark is supposed to have so much more. And I didn't really understand why, but I just did. I remember that Oracle flying in and killing drones left and right and just doing so much damage. Trap, it really feels like right now, both against Terran and Zerg, and maybe even against Protoss, maybe we'll see it later, with just 1 single unit, the Oracle, is kind of showing us not only how to use it, but just how strong it is, and that it's just incredibly strong. That one Oracle achieved so much all by himself. He demolished the economy of Dark, who had Spores and Queens in every base. And then he did a timing at which Dark was supposed to have more, but didn't, just because the Oracle had done this much damage. This is... I really don't know how to react to this. You know, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of Dark, and I'm like, well, what else can you do other than getting more Spore Crawlers?
Well, this is it for Dark now. He's got to bring out the very best game he can on this map, on Expedition Lost. And for Trap, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to get his third base and not be harassed by the Zerg over and over and over, time and time again, in between that natural and the third base, because they can be so far away. So Trap, likewise, has got to come into this map with a game plan, because we haven't really seen him have to go up against Zergs on this map just yet.
And you know what Trap does with this Stargate and the Oracle is actually incredibly hard to do. Like, there's the reason it's the first time we see somebody being able to do this much damage, even when it's scouted. He doesn't care. There is Spores up, he's going to find a hole in the defense, he's going to find a weak point, he's going to do damage here and there. A lot of Protosses, including myself, we don't really go for Oracles because it's actually incredibly hard to micro and at the same time be able to macro right back at home.
Yeah.
That there is a big argument for that, but I guess most Korean pros, they can handle that better, but they still don't go Oracle for as many games as Trap does, or do nearly as much damage. Like, he's really showing the way of how this unit's supposed to be used and how strong it is.
Well, for now, Trap has scouted out everything that's going over on the other side of the map with that probe. Spotted that there is, well, actually, there's more Zerglings on the way than I was expecting. 8 in production at the moment, looking to pressure the front of that base again after it was the gateway opener into the Nexus.
Trap should just open Stargate every game. Yeah. Oh, he actually already kind of does.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then the one time you really expect it, that's when he doesn't do it.
And actually, it was on this map against Terrans when he was trying to break them with those kind of robo-openers. But other than that, you're right. I mean, he almost always gets work done with the Oracles.
Maybe a 7-gate here against Spore Crawlers. I'm evil, sorry.
Wow, you really are. Well, this Zealot. Ooh, this is not good for this Zealot.
We're a long way from home, little man.
Yeah. Oh, here comes the micro. Saved. Easy peasy for Dark.
Still no gas here for Dark, who's going to be droning up hard in this game. That's one of the way actually you can play against somebody you know you're not doing too well against. You can take a little bit of a gamble, basically telling yourself that if you can pull far ahead enough in terms of economy, then you're going to do very well. And actually, Trap in this game, he anticipated the overall decoy. He couldn't boosted out the second Stalker, so he's getting a third one as well. A bit of an MC-esque push that he's going to go for here.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my god, 2 more gates. Okay, Lars, this could be the Roddy push, the Roddy build. Stalker's aggression against no gas. He has scouted that there was no gas early on.
Yeah, he did.
This could be very strong. He already has a probe out on the map, by the way, on the right-hand side.
But how close can it get? Because the Lings are still preying around. There's the watchtower being controlled down to the bottom right-hand corner. The Lings do spot 3 Stalkers moving out, and that's not the usual thing that you're actually seeing from a Protoss. So you've got to be a little bit conscious of this. I mean, yes, he has 8 drones on the way, but the Roach Warren goes down instantly.
But I mean, speed is nowhere close to starting for Zerglings, and actually Dark kind of panics and throws down the Roach Warren.
2 more gateways. A lot more gateways just went down actually in the main.
I might have called it, man. A big gateway attack against a Zerg that's already scared from the Stargate units. He's gonna go up to at least 6 gates.
He's freeing up some supply. I mean, at least he's doing that. He's getting 3 Overlords at the same time, so he should have some units out if he senses something that is going awry.
Oh, the probe is actually in the radius of vision of that watchtower, by the way.
It's not gonna survive.
Oh, Dark sees the proxy pylon. Right now he knows what's up. He's gonna start 5 roaches. Speed is on the way as well. He needs only units from now to have a chance to hold this.
As I said before, that 3 Stalker move out was a little bit weird compared to what is normally you're gonna actually greet there. So that really tipped him off. He started the Roach Warren instantly when he saw that. And now 20 Lings, 7 Roaches is gonna be the flood. Those Stalkers moving up towards this third base. He might have to evacuate for a little bit, but those units are gonna pop very soon.
The thing is, Dark cannot give up this base. He needs this hatcheries production. He needs the lava, so he's gonna try and stay there and defend. But look at how many Stalkers there are already. It's so many.
Here comes the Roaches. Time Warp might be available to him pretty soon if he wants to use that on the retreat out. He may end up also saving it for a recall out. Warping in some of the sentries for some space control, some Zealots to tank up a little bit here so that Stalkers can do the business that they need to. But there was already good focus fire on that Mothership core.
He has force fields available.
There goes the Time Warp. how much he's going to be able to do here. The Zealots are at the back, not really doing too much. The Mothership Core will end up falling. Dark is holding on for now. Zerglings are tanking up whilst the Roaches are not doing too bad. And that's more Zerglings flooding on forwards here. Also on top of all these warpins as they come along. More units are going to get warped in. These Zerglings were a little bit disjointed away from the Roaches at the back to try and continue on. But the Queens are doing all right in terms of support.
Dark didn't do as bad as I thought he would so far. I thought he might just lose right there and then, but he's held quite convincingly, and behind this, he's getting more Roaches, more Zerglings, could go right back into drones, starts the lair, and Trapped has been held.
We'll shut this down, pushing this back, and Trapped now.
Yes.
Uh-oh, here comes Burrow. Trapped's going back to Robo facility, but it's very, very late now. It's very late for this transition.
Dark has a few options here. He could actually use the back door. He's trying to get us around on some of those units. He's going to get some, but I mean, he doesn't have enough there. I'm a little bit surprised that he's not using the rocks. And you know, he's gonna do just that with the Roaches here. So the Burrow, there is no Robo's about to finish.
Trap gets it.
Yet.
Trap gets it as well. He knows that could be a point of contention over at those back rocks. We'll spot that going down pretty quickly, but at the same time, how many sentries does he have out? Okay, 5. So as long as they're in the right spots for those force fields, in just a second, then they should be fine at the back there.
Dark needs to drone up more, for sure. He's only up to 53 drones to 48 probes right now. He's going to get a few more. He's going to get one more extractor. He's only on 2 right now. 2 more extractor, actually. He's going to go up to 4. Up against the Trap, who's going to be stuck on 2 bases for some time. Gets a War Prism, starts an Immortal. Could we see a 2 base here out of Trap on a map where taking a 3rd can be tricky?
I mean, we may have to with the position he's put himself in. It's going to be very difficult to break out and hold a 3rd location with the tools available to him.
Oh, this is really smart by Dark. He knows that the likelihood of a 2 base here, especially of an Immortal push, is there. So he starts a Hydralisk 10. And if he gets a lot of Hydralisk against a 2 base, they are going to do great. Be it against Immortals, be it against a lot of Blinkstalkers. They're such a good unit to have in high numbers against those 2 base plays that Protoss can go for.
Trap at the moment has very little room to wiggle with, and it's going to be difficult for him to make this work. He's basically building up one strong force, Blink, Immortals, extra sentries for force fields, anything that he can get at his hands now, because the Hydralisk numbers are going to start.
He wants to go for a 3rd base, but there is a board laying here. And Trap actually entirely skipped on an Observer so far because he felt like he had to go for Immortals first. So this is going to deny that, or delay it even more here. 14 Hydralisk on the way.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of firepower. A lot of firepower. He might have to even throw down a cannon at that location if he wants to clean that up, because, well, the Observer's on the way now at least. Didn't spot that in the production tab, but it's +2 and Blink. That can do a lot. Yes, it can do a lot, but there's going to be so many Hydralisks out by the time he ever wants to go.
The one thing in this game that Trap is going to have going for him is that his +2 attack upgrade is going to finish before the Zerg +1 even finishes. So even though he went for a gateway aggression, he transitioned very quickly into upgrades behind his buff. Hold on.
Oh no, this could be a way for Trap to actually get back in this game. Actually completely catching Dark off guard, didn't have vision. He's starting a few spine crawlers behind this mineral line, but he's not going to let him get up here for a long, long time.
He needs to go for the sentries.
If he can get them, that would be great, but there's still a lot of energy left on them. And he picks them up, keeping those protected. Needs to drop it very, very soon, though. Retreating all of those back to the safety of that actual ramp to get in range of the Hydralisks. That's a lot of Zealots. That's a lot of Zealots. How many more force fields does he have? He actually brings down the Warp Prism. No more reinforcements here for him to continue on with this. Dark has handled it well, considering the position he was in.
He's handled it great. He's only lost 4 drones so far. He's gonna kill all of the Zealots. This was a massive investment by Trap. Again, Dark with the sick hold.
Moving down to the right-hand side, and there's already Roaches and Hydralisks to greet him. Trap doesn't really have any room at all now. He's being pursued back. That Immortal at the front is very, very vulnerable. He needs to throw down force fields to cut these units off, and he will, buying himself a little bit more time here.
Yeah, but I mean, if you could at supply here, it's going to be so tough for Trap to hold the upcoming attack. 112 army supply to 71, and so many Hydralisks against no Colossus.
This is going to be difficult. Very, very difficult for Trap to hold on against this Roach Hydra-based attack. Also, +1's going to finish up soon. The Hydralisk speed has just finished up, making this army all the more mobile, positioning himself to try and go for the natural. 1 Colossus in production, but probably won't be out in time to hold off against the torrent of aggression now hitting that natural, and also forcing the Protoss to engage in a very, very odd spot. Trying to force field some of this off. Blinks forwards to the left-hand side, trying to kill off some of these Roaches and Hydralisks on the left. And whilst all those Roaches and Hydras are actually pushing up against the natural, forces those in. So Dark is split off a little bit here, left and right. Trap is slowly dividing and conquering. What has actually happened during all of this?
Trap is doing a very good job of holding this so far, but Roaches are coming into the third base of Trap and killing probes left and right.
Dark has too much. Dark has all too much. He could even send some up into the main, try and go for the mineral line there as well. He actually burrowed some of those Hydralisks on the left-hand side to keep those alive. The Nexus is going to fall. A Colossus is in a little bit of trouble, but Stalkers will come to the aid of it. The Nexus ends up falling, and Trap now still very up against it, despite a pretty good hold there.
Oh man, this might force another all-in here out of Trap.
I think
Dark is really forcing his hand by sniping this base.
I think the one power play that Trap has available to him is the 2 Colossus that he'll have, right? There's no Corruptors on the field.
He doesn't have the gas for thermal lens, though.
Yeah, so he's just going to have to try and go with that and hope that the splash damage, the force fields, all the other units can hold him at bay whilst that's going on.
She's a cutie.
I think she'll survive for a while in this game. No,
Trap, yes.
Never mind. No.
Trap is going to go for a 2 base. Look at the cannons that he's getting at the front of his base. Or at the front of his natural. He's making sure that he cannot be broken here, that he's going to be able to buy himself enough time while he kills his opponent across the map.
The 2 Colossi are the key. If they can do the business at the front, maybe he can actually break through and do some damage. But for now, he is caught between a rock and a hard place. Poor Roach dies. Sad news for that Roach. Sorry about that.
Oh, those links. Hive is now underway, so Trap, he has a very strong timing here that he can hit before Vipers are going to be out, but it's actually going to be a very long timing too, because Hive only now started. Army supply, Kailaris, is 96 for Trap, 114 for Dark, who's mostly on Roaches.
He's got to go. He's got to go. This army, it's the army that Trap has to do this with. The 5 Immortals as the backbone to this army can be very, very powerful as well. Force field, he's trying to go up the ramp. If he can get up the ramp, force all of this off, that could be a fantastic engagement point for him. He keeps all of that out, and Trap now is looking for that one opportunity here in game number 4 to seal everything.
Sending some Roaches down the ramp here. Dark needs to be careful. Every unit is important. He's still ahead in supply, but his army of Protoss looks to have no answer out of Dark. Unless he can get Vipers, the Hive is going to finish.
+2 weapons is gone. He can walk up there. He kills off the Hydralisk den. He needs to kill the Hive. If he can kill that Hive before Vipers come out, as you mentioned, then that could be an absolutely fantastic little move here. Roach is going for the counter. He can't keep these units out forever. Full base trade in effect here. But one Viper starts. He needs to hunt that down when it actually comes out and make sure that it's not available. The 2 Colossi are still so key in this game.
Dark needs more than the 1. Oh, Colossus gets away! He needs to chase this down and kill it.
Does he have any sentries that is natural or anything? If he could keep that alive, the Hive's gone. There's only 1 Viper available to him.
1 sentry.
Warping in sentries. Keep this Colossus alive. Get good trades with it. Anything you can do. Trap could actually bring this back. He's only 20 supply behind. He needs to get himself over to the right-hand side of this map, shut down some of those hatcheries, and make sure that he can do something in this game. Keep himself in it.
Oh my god, Dark, he can only make drones and queens right now. He lost every single one of his production facilities. He's trying to remake a pool. He only managed to start 1 Viper.
Dark's
I don't think that 1 Viper is enough. Well,
Dark's trying on the way.
Why not? He's won almost every game with it so far.
There's no overseers. There's no layer to actually morph in from that, I don't think. So
the 1 Viper, Kailaris. It needs to be the hero.
It's do or die for that 1 Viper. He can actually get energy for 2 pulls, I believe, and then from that point on, if he's able
more
to
energy
get
for 2 more pulls.
Well, yeah, okay, but he's already breaching this location. Gonna go straight for it. It throws up the Guardian Shield. There goes a pull.
Oh, he can't chase.
And actually, also another Colossus ends up falling, but that's all the pulls he has left. Another Colossus ends up surviving. Can he do this? Are the units from the back here from Dark to actually go forward? The drones get pulled off the line. Dark has to make the hold here as Trap now is really up against it. Has to burrow some of those units on the left-hand side. That 1 Colossus still remains alive, but here comes another pull with that Viper. He needs to somehow kill that Viper off. He goes down. He kills off the Viper as the Colossus pushes on forwards with the entire army. How are the Roaches and Hydralisks supposed to shut this down? It's a supply advantage here for Trap to blink up forwards as well and bring down the remaining forces of Dark. Unbelievable! An unbelievable game from Trap. GG! He advances on to the grand finals. I cannot believe what we just witnessed. An amazing, amazing game from Trap. Ladies and gentlemen, Trap moving on to the World Championship Finals here at the Intel Extreme Masters. What a performance, what a game number 4. I myself didn't believe he was going to be able to do that. but he pulled it out. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Great game. Really strong timing here at the end with the Colossus, and I guess traded better than Dark, who I thought for a chance might be able to do it, but in the end, there was even a Dark Shrine on the way, so even if this had been held, it would have been a very sad ending for Dark, either way.
An amazing play out of Dark. He had an amazing run overall throughout this tournament, and it took Trap to topple him in some brilliant games. And what a game four. What a game four. It was back and forth. It was neck and neck. Dark was in the driving seat for so long. But Trap with decision-making in that game, I'm blown away.
The hold was insane. I thought Dark was going to win for sure.
Yeah.
With this massive attack with roaches and hydralisks, but the hold was one of the sickest ever, I think, that I've seen.
I'm absolutely blown away. Blown away by that result. With games like that, he deserves that final spot. He's shown tenacity against Terrans here during the tournament. He's shown absolute ferocity here against Dark, who has been able to smash his previous opponents. And Trap here for Jin Air Green Wings, advancing on to the grand final.
Just great reactions under pressure every time.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff. Well, that does it from us here, guys. Without further ado, let's head over to the stage with Little Susie and, of course, Trap.
All right, without much further ado, here is Trap, everybody, your first finalist. Hey, when you came out of your booth earlier, I saw that you were holding something. Can you show everybody your shoes? Let's take a look at this. You guys see this? He's got his name on his shoe. All right, Trap, tomorrow, you are going to be in the grand finals in front of over 10,000 people. How do you feel about that?
무대에 오프닝 인사할 때 한번 서봤는데 진짜 이거는 결승 올라간 사람만 거기서 게임할 수 있잖아요. 그래서 진짜 한번 그 무대에서 진짜 게임 한번 해보고 싶어서 간절히 결승 가기 위해서 필사적으로 했어요.
All right, he says during the opening ceremony, he went ahead and stood on that stage, and he was like, wow, only the person who makes it to the finals can actually play a game on a stage as amazing as this. And with that in mind, he said he's just been playing his games and he has finally made it to that position. Okay, I was talking with Zest and Byung in the back. They were watching all your games, and both of them asks, who do you want to play tomorrow?
일단 제 첫 번째 목표는 이렇기 때문에 누가 올라와도 상관없고요. 이제 두 번째 목표가 트로피를 보고서 생각한 게 무조건 우승을 해야겠다라고 생각했거든요. 우승해서 트로피를 한번 들어올려 보고 싶어요.
그럼 누구랑 붙고 싶은데?
아무나.
누가 더 쉬울 것 같아?
쉬울 것 같냐고요? 그냥 쉬운 상대는 없는 것 같은데 푸푸전을 한 번도 안 했어가지고 푸푸전 한번 해보고 싶어요.
Okay, so I asked him about who he wants to play, and of course his PC answer. He says, well, number one, my goal was to make the finals, so that's done. Check. Number two, number two is to hold that trophy. And he was like, since I've already done number one, it doesn't really matter who I play. And I was like, come on, you've got to pick one. And he says, well, neither opponent's going to be easy, but he hasn't played a Protoss yet, and so it might be nice to go ahead and do a Protoss versus Protoss match tomorrow. That'll be our first mirror matchup too, guys. Now, Dark said that he would do a ceremony for us if he wins. Is that the same for you? Are you going to prepare a ceremony for us?
한번 이제 자기 전에 한번 깊이 생각을 한번 해봐야 할 것 같아요. 제가 좀 리액션이 큰 동작은 익숙치 않기 때문에 한번 깊이 생각해 보도록 하겠습니다.
He says, before I go to bed, I'll give it some really, really deep thought about it. He goes, I'm not a person who has that great of a big reaction after I win, so I'm going to have to really consider this one. Well, like you said, you're going to think about it tonight. But other than that, how are you going to spend the night before the biggest day of your life?
일단 폴란드 처음 와서부터 경기 끝나고 나서도 항상 VOD 보고 상대 선수 하는 거 분석했거든요. 이번에도 내일이 가장 중요한 경기니까 첫 목표를 이뤘다고 해서 초심 잃지 않고 꼭 내일 만반의 준비를 하겠습니다.
Okay. Oh, man, he's giving me really PC answers. But he said, ever since he got to Poland, he's been watching a lot of VODs and studying up on his opponent. So just because he's gotten his first goal of making it to the finals, he's not going to lose that focus and definitely spend the evening studying up on his opponent again so that he can hold that trophy. So good luck to you. Hopefully you get some good rest tonight. And we're going to have to throw it over to the analyst desk and see who is going to go up against Trap in the finals tomorrow.
Thank you so much, though, Susie. Congratulations to Trap, our first finalist here at IEM World Championships Season 9. And it's a Protoss player hailing all the way from Korea, and he is the one taking out the remaining Zerg player. But Trap, I mean, the big story on everyone's mind is not only is he playing well, but is Alukalok literally the psychic of StarCraft 2? Like, I can't even believe how far he's come along, considering that people were like, Trap? LOL? Nah, dude. And now he's here in the finals.
You were joking about this in day one, Jeff. You're like, well, that's not going to happen.
Like, no one, everyone's actually kind of speechless here.
You know, I really don't think Trap was the favorite going into it, except for the number crunching system, and they're pretty close so far. So
we made
really
some weird similarity comparisons to how some other sports has analytics where they compare like some weird things of happening, like who's making the touchdowns or who's scoring the points, and it's kind of happening in this case. I mean, Steve, why don't you start off the discussion here? We can talk about the numbers and whatnot, but what specifically spoke to you about that series between what we just saw, Trap and Dark?
Yeah, I think Trap had the edge in terms of the transitions and the macro. And one thing that I noticed from game to game is that he progressively, became more aggressive. Mm-hmm. In the first game, he was kind of macro-oriented, and from there, we saw that he became more and more aggressive for every game, I feel. Overgrowth, obviously, being the longest game out of the four. But from there, I feel like he became more and more aggressive, and especially the timing attack on Vani, I feel like was very well executed. And from there, the 6 gate didn't really do what it was supposed to do on Expedition Lost, but I still feel like eventually, with some very nice tactics, he was able to gain an advantage with aggression there as well.
Kev, do you agree, disagree?
I agree. I definitely do think he was very aggressive in game 1, though, because that was sort of like a 2-base all-in where he eventually was forced to take a third. Anyway, you guys are going to have to cut me off, because I can talk about this series like for 30 minutes straight. It was such a wild PV. I know. Jeff will. I'm not worried. That's fine.
I guess we can take it game for game.
Yeah, so let's talk about game number 1. Game number 1 was ridiculous because that was a game where at first it looked like Dark knew everything that was going on. He even scouted the Stargate, but he's like, I'll let it finish, and then, it's not going to do a whole lot. Then suddenly the Mothership Core killed that hatchery with the last shot. That was weird. Anyways, on a certain point, Dark was still in a really good position after Trap overcommitted at first. He was forced to take a third base, but it was so late. So it didn't really matter. Then he attacked like off creep, without queens, without Vipers, and he lost everything, and we're like, oh my god, the troll. And then Trap is like, hey, let me return the favor, man. Like, here comes my army. Let me step in the middle of creep, surrounded by 7 ultras, and here you go, it's game number 1 of the semifinals. Like, I thought it was a really bizarre game, really wild, and I think you could see that both players were pretty nervous in game number 1.
Yeah. Definitely felt like those missed timings that Todd was talking about. As a result, the momentum kept shifting back and forth. Dark took that game. You could say stole it too. Yeah. Game number 2, then we had this big corruptor ball that kept forming, and Snoot was actually saying throughout the whole time, Dark's got this. He's going to win. It's like,
wow,
it doesn't matter.
Call him out then.
Oh, no, let me explain, and I'm going to let him justify it in just a second. But he's like, yeah, it's like Dark actually has this. I've been in similar positions, and it's like Zerg's going to be in a really good spot. And a couple of things happened, and what went wrong there, Snoot?
Dark had a very solid position, being on 5 bases with a gold base, tremendous income, and he had a very strong army. Swarm hosts and corruptors in mass is not something that you want to fight as a Protoss. But at some point, he made the choice that only 12 swarm hosts was his choice. And I'm not really sure if I agree with that, because there was not enough ground support to protect all of the corruptors. And eventually he made this giant concave and decided to attack against a lot of Archons and Templar. And you need either Broodlords, Infestors, or Swarm Hosts to zone out these units, to zone out the High Templar and the Archons. And in this game, the ground support was not there. And I feel like Dark had this economic lead, but he didn't have the correct unit composition to make the move that he did.
I also think, sorry, Jeff, go ahead. You haven't said anything yet.
I was just going to say, I think the other, like the compounding error that occurred at the same time was, well, no, a little bit earlier than that, excuse me, was something like 12 Stalkers killed a Hive in 3 hatcheries.
The
and
Greater
then
Spire.
Either a 3rd or 4th hatchery at the gold died to 5 Zealots as well, and it was all mostly because he only had the 12 Swarm Hosts, but then he had nothing else. There's no roving pack of 20 or 30 Zerglings. There's no Roaches. If there were, they were out on the map doing fairly inconsequential things. So it's not like that's an error. That was more just due to the pace of the game. Both these guys were attacking at each other's throats pretty much the entire time, and this just kind of slipped through the cracks. But it's a pretty monumental mistake that doesn't happen very often. I feel like most Zergs do have a response for that. The blink into the main is extremely common. The blinking around is all extremely common. Zealot run-bys, that's a mainstay of PvZ. But to get a base like that and get all that tech, as well as the Greater Spire, by the way, which then made him panic and go, oh my god, I need 19 more Corruptors for a total of like 43. It was a pretty weird couple of moments there.
Yeah, in the big picture, I don't think losing a tech building here and there is a very big deal. But definitely what you said towards the end, the kind of mental aspect of it, that you feel pressured and that you need to make something happen after losing these buildings, I think that's what really played into this.
And then going into game number 3, we saw a pretty big blink timing there, being able to be strongly effective. I don't know if there's much worth discussing there, so we just move on to game 4, where we had that 6 gate, and then eventually transitioning out of it. So, Kev, what do you think went wrong for Dark after that?
I mean, game number 4 was really wild as well, because at first I looked at the openings, and, Todd was joking already. He's like, he's going to go for the little roti build. That's my best Todd impression. And,
you got way better Todd impression.
I know, but I would have loved to see him do it as well, but it was sort of an in-between. And, like, first it looked like he wanted to pressure with 3 gates, and then it's like, no, he's going to go with 6. And I still kind of liked it. He had a pylon pretty close to the 3rd hatchery. He does have to go up a ramp, which is frustrating, but I think he could have still done a lot better there. But the Zealots were behind the Stalkers. He warped in 2 sentries, which I don't think was necessary in that point. It hit a little later than it would have, so it was all kind of wild. It was like a little bit of everything, but not a massive commitment to a certain playstyle. And normally, if you defend that as Zerg, and you keep your hatchery alive, and you take out the Mothership Core, and the Protoss, he's on 6 gates, no extra gases whatsoever, you gotta love your position as Zerg, and you gotta love, being Dark, and you loved it too. You're like, wow, I was really worried for Dark, and now suddenly I love it a lot.
Yeah, we actually have a clip from game number 4 that we want to go over as well. So Snoot, this is the last time the Zerg player is in the tournament, so why don't you walk us through this clip, as you'll be able to talk all about what went wrong here.
So yeah, there's still quite a few sentries, but these force fields can be baited out. But as we can see here, this is a very crucial moment as Dark moves all of his army towards the north, down this little path. And this is such a weird position to be in, because all the tanky units, the Roaches, are at the front at this ramp. And we see this force field sectioning off a lot of the Hydras in the back. They're not shooting right now. There is this blink forward, which is a little bit questionable, as we see a lot of them fall. But the Immortals at the back have really strong DPS, and this army just falls. The force field's preventing the Roaches in Trap's natural from actually coming back to defend. You see the Roaches are trying to escape. They get trapped with a couple of Zealots.
So good.
And the Immortals keep pushing the other weak in the army to the left, chasing the army. This run by here, kind of a big deal. Losing this 3rd Nexus is absolutely massive. But then again, some army will be traded off for this.
I feel like the critical part here is like that killing the 3rd's great, and I agree with everything you said about the attack at the natural. That was mostly bungle. That was really good for Trap as opposed to Dark. But you look back at the tech, he's now adding an Infestation Pit, he has no Spire, and there's already Colossus out. And we've seen this earlier in the PvT matchup, when you don't have Vikings to deal with the Colossus, you're in a lot of trouble. Well, the same's fairly true in PvZ, it's just they have a couple of different answers. Without Vipers or Corruptors or like a Muta Switch, some kind of big X factor, if you have to fight that army, you're in trouble. And I think Dark, unfortunately right here, he kind of had that choice where I feel like the better choice would have been to counterattack right now. and produced
immediately.
off the other hatcheries. He could not fight this army with those force fields.
I think he should have counterattacked as soon as his Protoss army started marching across the map. He should have been there already. But something we didn't mention, and is so good, is that he had 2 cannons and force fields and a photon overcharge in the natural. Otherwise, you know, this is expedition loss. You start running circles, and yes, you don't have an answer against Colossus, but you have so many roaches and hydras that you just keep running circles. But the fact that he never broke the natural, despite putting so many roaches and hydras there that were not participating in the battle before, and you know, Trap defended his natural, and that is key, and that's not something I see very often at expedition loss. So he just did that extremely well.
And something else worth mentioning is how all of these roaches and hydras were created in the first place. Trap just putting on the aggression, but let's not forget the Warp Prism and how that was used. That was so fantastic.
That's right, the sentries force fielding the ramp and preventing it. And of course, there's a lot of small things we could pick at too that did have influence. You were even mentioning at the end, you know, there was a shot if he could disarm the Colossus, but you said he missed the Immortal there, or he clicked on the Immortal. And as a result, that one Colossus did massive damage for the rest of the battle. So a lot of these things that just looked like Dark wasn't on his A+ game. And as a result, Trap just was able to capitalize and now moves on to the finals.
I think something interesting, and Snoot, maybe you should talk about this. Like, you've been a big fan of Dark's macro in ZvT, just because it's phenomenal. You know, the way that he balances the minerals and gas that he has been flawless throughout all the ZvTs that we've seen against both Tasia and who was the secondary player?
Maru.
And Maru. Like, it was just phenomenal. But I felt in ZvP, it's less clean than that.
Yeah, it was a little bit off, and I think Todd pointed this out excellently in the first game when Dark was getting this infestation pit and this hive going, but he had these 6 extractors taken but did not mine gas from them, so the transition was weakened a bit. The infestors didn't come out as early as they could have, and a lot of energy was missed there.
And I think even on Overgrowth as well, I felt like the balance between minerals and gas was off a little bit.
It ended up being 2 of his 6 gases too, by the way. So like it sometimes happens we have like 2 out of 3 drones on one. And that's a mistake, and people talk about that, but to just flat out not be mining off of 2 of them, and huge mistake.
If Protoss stays aggressive, this is usually not a big problem, because you don't necessarily want to be rushing infestors against a big gateway all in, right? But over time, it becomes a big problem if you don't mine that gas.
Well, we have a winning moment, actually. Production's telling me of the defining moment where we won. But we will instead talk about some other stuff that's coming up here. We have another semifinal of Byong versus Zest coming up. The Protoss versus Terran rounding out the round of 4. Keep in mind, guys, if you want to keep up, say you tuned in mid-series, you want to find out what happened earlier on, we actually have live coverage once again from the Score Esports app. I downloaded it, and I'm starting to use it myself. It's actually pretty good, considering that there's not really a space being filled in that position. So it's a good need, especially if you're following a lot of esports, especially considering that there's League of Legends and Counter-Strike going on here at the IEM World Championship. So make sure to download it Android and iOS so you can keep up with all coverage here at the tournament. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to have the second semifinal. It's Byong versus Zest. 2 players who we weren't sure if they were going to go this far, but who is going to be the one going to the finals? We'll find out right after this.